rendition to Nigeria. Let that be on record. So that when people want to really bring justice on this case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, when they are piling up all their evidence and going after Bokwari, Malamu, and many others, and some of the lies they told the media just to illegally commit international crime against one man. This is going to be handy. Because some of you probably, and he said, we cleared that a long time ago, we were not involved. They have to tell all of you how they kidnapped him. They didn't follow anything official. And that is what their court said. Nnamdi Kanu has no case to answer. If Nigeria truly want to try Nnamdi Kanu for anything at all, first, they would have to first put him on a private jet. Clean him up enough that he's happy to fly. Then return him back to Kenya. Then go through the Kenya judicial system by presenting a case against him in Kenya, why he is needed in Nigeria. With all the evidence, Nnamdi Kanu will fight it there. Now, if he loses in Kenya, that is when Nigeria can now bring him to Nigeria for any trial. But you and I know this is just one of Bokwari's dream of keeping an Igbo man among many others who he sees as a threat to the advancement of their jihad and jihadism. And therefore, let me keep him as a trophy. Not because he's done anything wrong. And since they have illegally locked him up, denying him access to medical care, trying to kill him slowly, they have now invaded this region, picking up every young and old, making them disappear, spreading fear, militarizing a region that we have witnessed for years now. I mean, the injustice continued to escalate. Communities of civilians have been invaded by Nigerian army, open fire, burned down to ashes in the name of looking for IPOB. While in some vulnerable border towns, communities, vulnerable people are exposed to the violent attacks of these Fulani terrorists, like they have been witnessing in Enugu in the last 3 months. All of these, as you know, when they say state-sponsored, seemed very well coordinated. The people's fate seems to have been sealed, and whoever is on the way trying to stop them, they will do everything to bring them down. So they lock an innocent man up, making up different allegations, but none of them could be proven in their own courts. Their court said let him go, but they found means to still keep him while they set their terrorists on these people. Who is this threat to the national security? Obina. Sir Obina has something to say, the doctor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's actually start with the reports. Okay. From Enugu. Watch this.
The atmosphere in Nimbo community, Uzor-wani local government area of Enugu State, remains tense following a recent attack allegedly carried out by armed herdsmen from neighboring borders. The attack, which occurred last Sunday, claimed the lives of 4 individuals, including a child.
So, for the issue, what we are realizing that Fulani killed my brother. With the child he carried for his hand, they killed all of them.
I was sent to take care of a church here. And this is my place where they really entered yesterday. I saw them face to face. But it was God that saved me. And since that yesterday, this is my just coming back. I've been on the way, running up and down. So I don't know how.
Attacks on Nimbo, a border town in Uzor-wani, have become a recurring nightmare, leaving villagers living in fear.
Have denied us the favor and the faith of being a youth in this village. They have been dealing with us several times. This is not the first time, this is not the second time.
The situation is peculiar. Anything you can do to strengthen our local vigilance, if it's possible to give us a drone that can monitor our bush, because we don't have any other farm.
Governor Peter Mba, accompanied by heads of security agencies in the state, has come to empathize with the community and instill hope, declaring enough is enough.
We're pained, we're truly pained by such dastardly killing. It's absolutely senseless that a people who are living quietly within their environment, you have people who would trespass, come into their locality and open fire on them. That is inexcusable, is unacceptable, and we are not going to stop at anything. We're going to identify, we're going to track these culprits. We're going to pursue them wherever they are. We're going to capture them, and we're going to make sure that we bring them to justice.
While acknowledging Enugu State's reputation for hospitality, he emphasized that this generosity should not be taken for granted.
We are very hospitable people, but when we demonstrate hospitality, we expect our guests, people who have come to mingle with us, to also abide by the rules, to play.
Assuring the villagers, they announced that the government will assume responsibility for all medical bills and alleviate the suffering of victims. We also promised scholarships for the children orphaned by the attack and employment opportunities for those in need. Kelechi Ekeledo, AIT News, Enugu.
Thank you, AIT. I wanted to say nuisance delay, but again, that also got to me. I have been pointing out the report from the Uzor-wani, and as well as Nimbo border towns in Enugu. I have been kind of talking about them for weeks now. And they have been protesting, rejecting the situation or the establishment of Fulani Ruga in their community. And the government has been doing everything as well to keep them quiet. And they still continue going ahead with the Ruga plan in Enugu. So if Peter Mba, their governor, suddenly feels like, okay, I will pay the hospital bills of those killed, those injured, and I will also give employment opportunity to the people of this community. That means he just went there to go and do the formality, all talks, no action, because they will never see him again until maybe another killing this army happens. They would never see him again. They will never visit that place again. And the people, they will be left on their own. So why are they killing people in Uzor-wani in Enugu? The Fulani terrorists in Enugu. This Dr. Obina has something to say about that. Please listen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My heart bleeds at the level of massacre, the level of bloodletting that have been visited on the people of Nimbo in Enugu State consistently over the last 1 decade. Just yesterday, they just got another visitation of the agents of terror, the usual bandits, the usual terrorists and criminals hiding as herdsmen. And what are they after? The fertile soil and the fertile land of Nimbo. There is no mistaking the fact that this militia, these criminals, these bandits masquerading as herdsmen, have no other objective than to attack, destroy, devastate, and chase away the indigenous people from their land so that they can occupy those land. There is nothing like farmers herders clash. Nimbo as a community belongs to ancestral indigenous people over hundreds to thousands years ago. The Nimbo people are peace-loving. The Nimbo people are farmers. Nimbo land is one of the most fertile land in Enugu State. Enough of this bloodletting. I'm happy that Governor Mba says he will not leave any stone unturned to ensure that Nimbo people are protected. And I must assure him, if he's waiting for those in Abuja to protect his people, he will wait till eternity. The hour and the time and the season has come for them to take the battle back to the bandits. Let me tell you, there is something that is so obvious. Lawful terror deters unlawful terror. Close your eyes and imagine, why is it that these bandits and these terrorists do not operate freely in areas like United Arab Emirates, in areas like China, in areas like, of course, you saw what Russia did to them when they were trying to play fast ones on Russia. Now, let me tell you this. The governor of Enugu State must rise up, wake up, just like the other governors in the southeast. Ban open grazing. Not only ban open grazing, empower the communities to enforce it. Not just enforce it in the most vicious manner. That, see, when the bandits and the terrorists and these unholy criminals understand clearly that they cannot just march into Nimbo, massacre innocent women and children and march out without repercussions. When they realize it, that any attempt to take over Nimbo will be futile and will be met and resisted forcefully with overwhelming amount of force, they will stop coming. Lawful terror deters unlawful terror. Let me tell you, all over the world it is proven. Bandits, terrorists, bullies, criminals are cowards. They are the most cowardly human animals ever created by God. So the only thing that deters these guys and that will put them off permanently is not just only to protect the people, but to track them wherever they are, to give them a dose of their own. Do you know why terrorists find it so difficult? Before you calculate going to attack Israel or attack the Jews, just sign your own death warrant, because even if it takes the Jews 30 years, even if it takes them 60 years, they will locate you, they will liquidate you. Those who participated in the genocide, those who participated in the Holocaust of 1939 to 1949, even till tomorrow, are still paying the penalties. The Mossads will not leave you. Israelis will not forget you. They will track you. Even if you enter hell, they will bring you out from hell, deal with you, and send you back to Satan, your father. Peter Mba must rise up. Peter should not be like the ever smiling and laughing Buruburu, the rotund one who could not protect his people. One of the tests of leadership is the ability and capacity to protect lives and property. What happened in Nimbo yesterday should not happen again. Peter Mba must rise up. Mobilize.
No, it won't, but thank you very much for that. Okay. I just, when you're talking about fighting back these terrorists, I know a lot of us are very enthusiastic and optimistic too, right? We must fight, we must this or that. You need resources, okay? It's all these things that people should fight back, people should this or that. You need resources. And it has to be like a stream of it. You cannot fight those who have been jihadists. I am talking about terrorists. for hundreds of years to you that was raised to be reading book and creating things and, inventing things and all stuff, compared to those who have been born, who were born into that terrorism, because they have been told they could take anything they want. All they will need is just a gun. That's it. So, which simply means if you want to kind of defeat people like that, if it is not because of the weakest of us, you know the reason why the resources becomes unavailable. Number one, the motivation is not there. Talking about motivation, the southern Nigeria is being led by the weakest people ever. And therefore, the strongest Fulani terrorists and their sponsor, they are having an easy ride. In Enugu, for example, in fact, not just Enugu, in the entire eastern Nigeria, there was this like consensus among their supposed ruling class, elite, governors, senators, royal this or that. It was like a consensus. They just felt so threatened that they became the informant for the Nigerian murderous army to go after the only genuine patriotic army of the Igbos, ESN. I'm talking about, you know something about the army that they recruit and you are promised to be paid, and volunteer army. People who volunteer to say, I want to join. They were not offered anything other than the promise of a brotherhood to say, you won't be alone. You know, they are different. You get that? So the elite in Eastern Nigeria conspired and ensured that the supposed only fearful voice from the region, Nnamdi Kanu, is locked away. And everyone who joined his voluntary, voluntary army, ESN, to defend the people of Eastern Nigeria against these invaders, these murderers, the resources that could have been given to them to help them as volunteers, the resources has now been turned and used against them by the weakest criminals in charge of the southern Nigeria. Weakest people who would love to pander, or should we say they are always like pandering towards or pandering to their Fulani masters. There are able-bodied patriotic men and women that with adequate resources, including even if you have to make some local laws that allow us to be trained, military training that is voluntary, with the resources there that turned us into forest rangers, insurance to cover the rest of us who are volunteering. We can do what Obina is saying. Go after the criminals in the southern Nigeria, but we can't, because we are being represented by the weakest criminals that we are sharing ancestral lineage with. And the same is applicable to everyone who have seen this contraption finish. It is a finished contraption. Now your blood and the blood of so many innocent people is what is needed to keep the contraption going. It's almost like it's no more anything. A country that is pretty much like a pariah state, where despite being the poverty capital of the world, the jobless people's capital of the world, as well as the most terrorized people in Africa, nobody wants to deal or do business there, you know? But so those of us who have kept reminding all of you that we can break up this contraption, save the lives of the rest of us that are left, as well as those that are yet unborn. Save the lives, break it up. It's this same weakest mind, this weakest, selfish, greedy, self-centered criminals representing us in this southern Nigeria that would rather wage war against that idea and continue to promote this one suffering, one Nigeria, as long as their need continue to be taken care of with the blood of the innocent people that they don't give a damn about. So there are those that will mobilize the well-equipped armies to go after those who are hearing the idea of autonomous region or a fully independent republics out of this contraption. The weakest minds. And that's a problem, isn't it? It is. So Enugu people, Uzor-wani people, our hearts is with you. But let's go to the next one. While the people in Uzor-wani and Nimbo communities are falling to the butchering machetes and bullets of these Fulani terrorists. Look at what your senators are doing. They are fighting over seat. And it got captured on camera. Watch this.
Whether it's supporting or not supporting, that ranking, individual benefit is very important.
It's live, right? Keep loving your oppressors, okay? And until you become the victim that possibly won't live to tell this story. And I hope before you become that victim, right, you'll come back to your senses. That is why you are watching this broadcast. You will come back to your senses, and all of us have a role to play. There are those of us who are going to be physically face these rogues. And there are so many of you that your own role is to help not only to join in mobilizing and enlightening the people, educating them why it's going to be a wildfire the moment it is ignited. You are also going to help raise funds for what is coming, because something is coming. And it will come. When it is here, you should begin to see which role you are going to play. A lot of your own expertise will be put to use as well. And that is why you need to understand what is going on. So that when you pick up your own, what do you call it, the gauntlet, you will know why you are doing it. And you would also have a purpose. Why you can't back down. That is why you are watching this. The criminals in Nigeria have lost it. They have lost the touch. They have lost the contact. They are so far away from you and apart from you, including those of you, their ass leakers, their crumb chasers, crumb eaters, all risers, the bastards, the bat idiots. All of you, you will be a victim of what you never bargained for. So people do say that we should be careful of what we pray for. Sorry, you should be very careful of what you wish for. Because sometimes, it could actually be what will kill you. An example of that is this tifnumbu. You will no longer be able to drink and feel good from the Kool-Aid. It will choke. It will still, and it will kind of, strangulate. It will suffocate. The feeling won't be anything good at all. You won't be able to endure. So at the end of the day, you will be on the side of those you call the mob, because it's only the mob that wants something better, that could possibly be strong enough to take down these criminals. And when they are coming